Feeling stuck? Yearning for more? You're in the right place. This is Midlife Moxie with Nicole Haight, where you're going to get a weekly dose of courage, clarity, and maybe a little bit of chaos as we navigate our best chapter yet, midlife. Welcome back to Midlife Moxie with Nicole Haight. I'm your host, Nicole. Today, we are going to talk about something that might feel slightly frivolous. And yes, maybe even irresponsible. We're talking about play. Think about it. Childhood play was entirely unconscious. It was free of permission. You didn't ask if you deserved to play. You just did. You built worlds in your mind, laughed until your stomach hurt, and got lost in imagination without checking the clock or wondering if you were productive enough. But for women in midlife, play has become something that you think about instead of something that you do. It's something that you schedule, you justify, and feel the need you have to earn it. It carries weight now, guilt, self-consciousness, or that nagging voice inside your head that says, shouldn't you be doing something useful? Here's some truth for you. Play in midlife isn't about reclaiming childhood innocence. It's about reclaiming permission. Because somewhere along the way, you learned that play was frivolous, that serious women don't laugh too loud. They don't waste time on silly things. They don't prioritize joy without a purpose being attached to it. You became the reliable one, the responsible one, the one who holds it all together. And play, well, play got buried under decades of productivity, obligation, and performing goodness. But here's what makes adult play sacred. It is a conscious rebellion. It is choosing delight when the world expects you to be serious. It's letting yourself be unproductive, unpolished, and unearned. It's permission you give yourself, not something you wait to receive. Childhood play was innocent. Adult play is defiant. And that's exactly why you need it. So how did we get here? How did something so natural become so foreign? It started early. We learned that play was the price of being taken seriously. Think back to when you were young and playful. What happened? Did someone tell you to settle down? Or maybe act like a lady? Or stop being so loud? Or maybe you were just told you need to grow up. The message was clear. Your joy was too much. Your laughter was disruptive. And your lightness made you less valuable. So you adjusted. You became quieter, more careful, more serious. Because serious women get respect. Serious women get promoted. Serious women get chosen. Or so you were told. But here's what really happened. You didn't just lose play. You lost permission to exist without purpose. Women are socialized to be useful, to anticipate needs, manage emotions, hold space, and keep things running smoothly. Every moment becomes productive, and even rest, framed as self-care, just so you can show up better for others. But play serves no one but you. And that feels selfish. Add to that the chronic weight of being the reliable one, the one who remembers everything, manages everyone else's calendars, carries the invisible labor, and play well, it starts to feel impossible. Your nervous system is so locked in on mode, so vigilant, so hyper responsible that letting go feels dangerous. But the truth is, the lightness was trained right out of you, not because you weren't good at it, but because the world needed you productive, compliant, and exhausted. A woman at play is a woman who's not serving. And that's dangerous to every system that is profiting from your depletion. You didn't lose your playfulness because you grew up. You lost it because you were taught that joy without productivity made you less worthy of love, even though we know when we need to play. There are so many barriers that get in our way, and they all sound so reasonable. Have you ever told yourself, I don't have the time? I mean, I think this is probably the most common lie that we tell ourselves. But the truth is, you do have time. You just don't believe that you deserve it. You might scroll on your phone or your tablet or your computer for 20 minutes. Or you may find yourself answering those work emails at 10 p.m. Or even squeezing in another load of laundry before the day ends. But giving yourself 15 minutes of unproductive joy, well, that just feels unresponsible. I should be doing something more useful. Does this one ring true for you? Even when you might have a rare moment of free time, your brain immediately fills it with productive tasks. And play feels like wasted time, like you're betraying your to-do list. What will people think? You've spent decades being serious, reliable, and the competent one. What if you let loose and people see you as less professional or less capable? You decide to stay buttoned up. I don't even know how anymore. This one is brutal and painful. You've been performing responsibility for so long that you genuinely just don't remember what even makes you laugh anymore, what delights you. It's almost as if you've forgotten your own joy language. You might tell yourself that I'll play when everything else is done. Well, here's a spoiler. Everything is never done. You're just waiting for permission that will never come. And the truth underneath it all is that these barriers are not flaws in your character. They are trained responses from a lifetime of you being told that your joy doesn't matter unless everyone else is taken care of first. Your nervous system has learned that prioritizing yourself, it equals danger. Play might equal selfishness, and lightness equals weakness. So guilt shows up as a protective mechanism. It keeps you small, serious, and safe. Because if you never play, you never risk being seen as frivolous, too much, or irresponsible. But here's what guilt is really costing you: your aliveness, your spontaneity, your connection to what actually matters. And that is your life force. You're not too busy for play. You're too guilty. And that guilt was installed in you by a system that needs you exhausted. So let's be honest here. If I just told you that play reduces stress and boosts creativity, you'd probably nod your head and move on because you've heard it before. So let's talk about what play actually does, or the things that maybe no one else has told you. Play rewires your nervous system to tolerate freedom. When you're playing, you're training your body that it's safe to choose something just because you want it, not because it's useful, not because someone else needs it, just because it feels good. And that's revolutionary for a woman whose entire nervous system has been wired to seek approval and avoid selfishness. So every time that you choose to play, You're building capacity for bigger, scarier choices, like saying no or setting boundaries, leaving what doesn't fit, or claiming what you actually want. Play breaks your addiction to productivity. You've been measuring your worth by your output for so long, you don't know who you are when you're not doing something. And play forces you to just be. There's no outcome, there's no metric, no performance. It's just your presence. And when you start experiencing yourself as valuable, even when you're useless, that's when everything shifts. Play reconnects you to your body and your truth. Your body knows what delights you, but you've been overriding those signals for decades. Play brings you back into sensation, back into the part of you that knows what's true before your brain talks you out of it. Play makes you magnetic. You know that woman that lights up a room when she walks into it. She's not performing joy. She's just stopped performing altogether. When you reclaim play, you reclaim that authentic magnetism. Play gives you access to your edges. Here's a paradox. When you let yourself be light, you can actually hold more weight. Play isn't escape. Play is the pressure valve that lets you stay in the fire without burning out. Play is proof you chose yourself. Every time you play, you're making a statement. My joy matters. My delight matters. I matter, not because I'm useful, but because I'm alive. And that's not just a benefit, that's a revolution. So let's dismantle some myths that are keeping us from playing. Play is frivolous. You think play is frivolous because you were taught that anything that doesn't serve someone else is a waste of time. But let me ask you something. Who benefits from you believing that? Who profits when you're too serious to rest, too guilty to laugh? This system that needs you productive, compliant, and exhausted, that's the system that benefits. Play isn't frivolous. Denying yourself play is abandoning yourself for a system that was never designed for you to have freedom. Playful women aren't taken seriously. And you're right, because they're not. Because playful women are dangerous. A woman at play is a woman who has stopped performing. She's stopped shrinking and she's chosen herself. And that makes people nervous. Because what if you're allowed to prioritize joy? What else might you be allowed to want? So yes, when you reclaim play, some people won't take you seriously. And you know what? That's okay. Those people needed you small, and you need to let them go. Play doesn't accomplish anything. And that's exactly why you need it, because your entire life has been about accomplishment, achievement, outcomes. Play is the only place where you practice being valuable for no reason at all. It's the antidote to the poison that says you're only worth what you contribute. Every time you play, you're proving to your nervous system, I matter even when I'm not performing. And that's not unproductive. That's deprogramming yourself from this system. I feel guilty when I'm not doing something useful. Of course you do. That guilt is the leash. It's the internalized voice of every person who has benefited from your self-abandonment. That guilt isn't your intuition. It's your conditioning. So the next time guilt shows up when you're playing, don't obey it. Thank it for proving that you're doing something dangerous. So how do we actually do this? If I tell you to just have more fun, you'll do nothing. because you won't believe me and because you just don't remember how. And even if you did, your nervous system would slam the brakes and flood you with guilt. So let's get specific because these aren't cute Pinterest self-care tips. These are acts of reclamation. I've talked about this before, but starting with permission rituals. You can't jump straight into play if your nervous system thinks that joy is the equivalent to danger. Give yourself 1 hour a week to block an hour out and call it an unproductive hour. This is you do nothing. You have no agenda. There is no outcome to be met. And the only rule is that it cannot be useful. And I won't kid you, this probably is going to feel excruciating at first. But that discomfort, that's that good girl inside of you that is always following the rules, slowly dying away. Do something purely just because it feels good and consider it a no justification practice. And when someone asks why, just say because I wanted to. You don't need paragraphs of explanation, and you certainly don't need to give an apology. Move without purpose. Call this your body's joy language. Dance in the privacy of your own home, maybe while you're making dinner in your kitchen. And this is an exercise. It's just moving your body, just movement, not planned out, just in the moment. Put on a song and let your body do whatever it wants. Make noise, sing badly, laugh loudly. For women who have spent decades staying quiet, noise is a rebellion. Touch something that feels good for no reason. You've been functional for so long that you forgot your senses exist for pleasure. I like to do this when I'm shopping. It's clothes, maybe it's shoes, or maybe it's purses. That tactile texture feel can feel good. And no, I don't have to walk out of the store buying everything. Do something useless on purpose. Create something without an outcome. Doodle, color. You know, they make adult coloring books. Write terrible poetry. The goal isn't to be good at it. The goal is to prove to yourself that you can create without productivity or performance. Playing actual games, cards, board games, just for enjoyment. Waste time beautifully. Watch the clouds pass by. Get lost on purpose. Stay in bed an extra 30 minutes after you wake up just because it feels good. How do you reclaim your playful identity? Make a list of everything that delighted you before you were, say, age 12. Pick one thing from that list and do it again, even if it feels silly to you. Maybe it's allowing yourself to find people who let you be unpolished. Notice every time you stop yourself from expressing joy just because it feels unprofessional. Awareness is the first crack in the performance. So here's what I want you to do this week. Consider it your homework. And I know that this might feel like a lot. So I want to make this simple for you. This week, I want you to choose one thing, one small act of reclamation. Maybe it's having an unproductive hour where you block off an hour, 60 minutes, doing absolutely nothing useful. Maybe it's putting on your favorite song and dancing in your kitchen or your office for a couple minutes. Maybe it's putting together that list that everything delighted you before you were 12 or so. And then circling one thing on that list that you're willing to try again. Again, one thing. You're not going to do all of these, just one. And it's not going to be perfect. This step is just allowing yourself to have permission. Because what I have personally learned is that transformation doesn't happen in big, dramatic, grand moments. It happens in small, consistent choices that you choose to prioritize yourself when every other part of you says you shouldn't. So pick one this week And notice what happens when you give yourself permission to play without earning it first. I see play as the opposite of performance. Think about it. Your entire adult life has probably been a performance. At work, you're performing competence. At home, you're performing selflessness. You've been so busy being who everyone else needed you to be that you now have no idea who you are when no one's watching. Play strips away the performance. When you play, you can't fake it. You can't people please your way through spontaneous joy. Play demands presence, authenticity, and the part of you that has been buried under decades of shoulds and supposed tos. At this age, transformation isn't about becoming someone new. We are talking about digging yourself out to learn who you were before you learned to perform. And let's look at play as a shovel. Play reconnects you to your forgotten self. So here's a question that may be haunting you, or one that you've thought about. Who am I when I'm not being who everyone else needs me to be? You probably don't know, because you've been performing for so long that you genuinely just can't remember anymore what you want or what delights you. Play takes you back to the little girl you were before you learned to be good, before you learned that your joy disrupted others, or before you decided that serious was safer than spontaneous. She's still in there. The one who laughed too loud, the one who got lost in the imagination, and the one who didn't need a reason to dance. I want you to meet her again, and not to become her, because you can't go backwards, but to integrate her, to let her wildness, her curiosity, her unfiltered aliveness inform the woman you're becoming. Play is the bridge back to her. Play prepares you for bigger reclamations. What makes play so powerful in midlife? It's the training wheels for freedom. If you can't choose 20 minutes of unproductive joy without spiraling into guilt, how are you going to set a boundary that disappoints someone? How are you going to leave a job that is slowly killing you? Or how are you going to build a life that looks nothing like what you were supposed to want? Play teaches your nervous system that it's safe to choose yourself, that prioritizing your needs doesn't destroy everything. Every act of play is a rehearsal for the sacred exits that are still to come. Authenticity requires lightness. You know why you can't access your authentic self? Because you're too heavy. You're carrying decades of other people's expectations, inherited beliefs about who you should be. And that weight is crushing the parts of you that are actually true. Play creates space. It loosens the grip. It gives your nervous system permission to soften just enough that you can hear what's underneath the noise. Lightness isn't the opposite of depth. Lightness is what makes depth sustainable. Let me tell you a story about me, because play has been a big part of my life, and also a big part of my life that's been missing. I'm sitting here today recording this podcast as a 50-year-old woman, and I'm contemplating my own relationship with play. And I realized that I never fully abandoned it, but I did learn to hide parts of it. I'm going to use Barbie for an example, because she has been a constant in my life since I was a kid. I collected Barbies through my teen years. I had the dream house. Yes, that dream house, the one that made all the other kids jealous. And when I moved out and I boxed everything up, my parents had it stored for me for years. But then one year, my mom went into this phase of cleaning and wanted me to come take everything, or she was going to toss it. And lucky for me, my daughter at the time, I think, was about 4 or 5. And she inherited my whole collection. And when she grew out of everything, we boxed it up again. and it's all still in my basement. A few years ago, I found a brand new dream house on Facebook Marketplace, still in the box, had never been put together. And it's still in my basement, in the box. And maybe one day I'll have a space to display it. But I couldn't let it go. I couldn't not go buy it. And yes, I have Barbie clothes. As a matter of fact, I'm wearing a Barbie t-shirt as I record this episode. And it was totally unplanned. But that's the thing about play. It just shows up when you let it. And music has been similar. I sang everywhere as a kid. Church, school musicals. And then I moved away and got married and had kids. And for over 20 years, my best singing happened in the car or the shower. That playful part of me went dormant, buried under everything else. But a few years ago, I joined a women's chorus, and it challenged me in ways that I didn't expect. And some days it's hard, but it flexes part of me that has been asleep for far too long. And that's what play does. It wakes up parts of you that you thought were gone. And I also love being crafty, painting, time and art projects, making jewelry. I have a silhouette cameo printer to make iron-ons or paper crafts or other decorative projects. None of this generates income, but that's not the point. It's play, and it's mine. And what I've learned is I didn't lose my playfulness. I just stopped giving myself permission to prioritize it. For years, I told myself that these were just hobbies and I would get back to them someday when I had more time or when the kids were older, when life slowed down. But life never slows down. You either choose play or you don't. So now I choose it. And it's not perfect and it's not consistent, but I do choose it. And every time, I remember that this is who I was before I learned that I needed to be serious. She's still in there. The revolution for you begins every moment of play, is allowing yourself to voice a vote for the woman you're becoming. The one who's not waiting for permission, who doesn't apologize for her joy, who doesn't measure her worth by her usefulness. That woman, she's not frivolous, she's free. And freedom is exactly what the world does not want you to have. So reminder to you that play is not frivolous, it's freedom. And freedom is exactly what every system that profits from your depletion cannot afford you to have. Because a woman who plays is a woman who has remembered that she exists for more than serving others. A woman who plays has a nervous system trained to tolerate joy, which means she can also tolerate rage, desire, truth, and power. A woman who plays, she doesn't ask for permission. She doesn't apologize. She doesn't wait until she's earned it. She just chooses herself and keeps choosing herself until choosing herself becomes as natural as breathing. None of these are unproductive, but they're all part of a revolution. But you can keep telling yourself that play is frivolous, and you can keep waiting for the right time. You can continue to perform productivity for a world that will never give you permission to stop. And watch how everything you thought was true about who you have to be starts to crack. The choice is yours. Thank you for joining me in this conversation. I will see you on the next episode of Midlife Moxie with Nicole Haight. Before you go, I want to make sure that you know how to stay connected to this work, because what we have talked about today, this is just the beginning. If you're sitting there thinking, holy shit, she just described my entire life, and you want to know exactly what patterns are running the show in your life, I've created something specifically for you. You can head on over to my website, www.nicolehaight.com, and take the assessment which sacred pattern is running your midlife. It's a free diagnostic tool that will tell you exactly where you are in your own conditioning and what your next steps should be. There's no fluff, no generic advice, just precise information about your specific patterns. Because here's the thing, you can't interrupt what you can't see. And most women are trying to change their lives without understanding the deeper nervous system conditioning that is actually driving their choices. If you want to dive deeper into these conversations and connect with other women who are also done performing their way through life, you can join my private Facebook group. Link will be in the show notes. And it's where we have conversations, real, raw, unfiltered truth about women in midlife. And if you want to be on my VIP list for weekly doses of truth that maybe help keep you accountable to your own transformation, there is a link in the show notes, but there's also a link at my website, www.nicolehaight.com, where you can sign up to be on my email list. This isn't a typical newsletter filled with tips and inspiration, though I do include that from time to time. This is a newsletter where I share hard truths, insights, raw, unfiltered things that are just not socially acceptable on social media. And these awarenesses that you can take away from what I share can be a catalyst for change. So I invite you to sign up. And if you're ready to go even deeper, because you might be tired of all of this surface level work and you really want a whole system level transformation, everything you need to know about working with me is on my website, www.nicolehaight.com. I'm not a coach, and this isn't coaching, and it's not therapy. And it's sure as hell not spiritual bypassing. This is a resurrection of the nervous system. And this is for the woman who is ready to stop performing and start living. You can also follow me on Instagram, Threads, and YouTube at I am Nicole Haight, where I share reminders about conditioning and women and midlife, confronting truths and desires that are just frankly not up for negotiation. So next week we will continue to have discussions that likely will make some of you squirm. It is what I'm best at. But if this episode shifted something for you, do me a favor and leave a review. Not because I need an ego boost, but because there are women out there who are Googling, why do I feel invisible in my own life at 2 a.m.? And your review might be what helps them find this podcast. Your review could also be the breadcrumb that leads another woman out of performance prison and into her own resurrection. So until next week, remember, you don't need permission to want what you want. You never did. That was just conditioning dressed up as consideration. You're a woman in midlife. You don't need permission. You just need to have desires and wants and the ability to go after all of them. So stop asking and start claiming.